because when I was finally told, then I started asking questions because of where I worked. This was the Pentagon, supposedly one of the most secure buildings in all of the United States of America. And when you think about the budgets, the technology, and things to that effect, my rationale was how on one particular day nothing was functional and nothing was operational on that particular day. I just was thinking, what was the odds? And then, wow, jet fuel? Then I looked up, the jet fuel, what the impact would be like, and then I began to question, well, how in the world, if this happened, how in the world are we not ashes?
Well, let's go back. Yeah, the plane burns up. You're right in the hit zone, but doesn't hurt you or, hurt you, but doesn't burn you up or your son, thank God. And then later they start trying to pressure you about being wrong, even speaking to your friends and others about it, before you were even really speaking out about 9/11 itself being a fraud. Did they start pressuring you to shut up, or when you started asking questions, what did they say about this?
Well, I started going public, and then there were times where there were just particular comments being made as far as, is it wise for me to say particular things when I am trying to get through, these investigations?
So that's how the whole military is. They're always investigating. They're always saying you've done something wrong, so they have something to hang over your head. So now they're intimidating you. Be quiet because you're under investigation.
It wouldn't be, for an operative, it wouldn't be wise to just go up to somebody and say, well, if you do this, we're going to do this. It's another method. It's a more subtle yet direct method. Like, is it wise for you to be doing this while you're trying to get, your medical your medical releases? And just more, or we don't think it's appropriate if you discuss that your child, a minor, was, in this particular area during this particular time. Then they changed it and said, well, weren't you there letting him visit people? And I said, well, now, it was an introverted way of saying, well, why don't you, instead of just saying, well, why don't you tell people you were there, visiting and showing around, instead they say, well, why weren't you there letting him visit people? And I said, well, how do you get inside the Pentagon? How do you clear your child and get inside the Pentagon so you can show him off? That's just not possible.
Well, let's go back now. Yeah, you had said that nothing was working that day. Break down what wasn't working that day, the stand down of Pentagon security.
Well, if you sit down and you do your homework and you look at the money that's spent, when you go back maybe 4 years prior and you look at the Department of Defense budget and you look at the money that's spent, so this building can be deemed the most secure building in all of the United States of America. And then you look at how in the world was a plane even able to get within a certain radius of the building.
Now, they admit they have missiles, anti-aircraft missiles, guns, all of this, always ringing it. And then we know that day Dick Cheney ordered a stand down.
Right. So you have to say, that leads to more questions. You got to understand, everybody knows at this point that the official story was botched up. They know the official story was botched up. But, there are certain things that lead to certain questions. How do you spend this money in this building? And then on this particular day, nothing was functional, nothing was operational, and this building, the most secure one in all the United States, was able to get attacked. What's the probability of that? You have to really look at that. You really think about it. It doesn't have a very high probability of something like that happening, especially to
No, I agree. Now, give people a basic overview of your story, what this led to, lawyers, other things. Hit all the key points.
When I was, then it went to, okay, something's got to be done. But I'm more of an effective type person. I'm not more of just talk. I try to find ways to get things done. So the first thing was I want to try to find a lawyer. But it was very hard because no one wanted to take the case. Then I started appealing to members of Congress.
Now, that means take the case. Tell people what you had a case about. I mean, specific.
Well, you know, it wasn't that it was clearly identified, because here you had the official story that was saying that it was a terrorist attack. However, there were so many questions out there that would lead you to believe otherwise.
And
so
they were
with a legal action.
And they were holding up
lawsuit, and with legal action, you can get those documents, and then you can put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Exactly. So you really start investigating.
Right. So the purpose of the lawsuit was to try to obtain a lawsuit. The purpose of it was the best way to get to the bottom of a situation is to litigate and have documents subpoenaed and obtained, and then that way you can piece together what is true, what is fact. This is what happened, this isn't what happened.
Yeah, I've done that before.
But, you know, it got, you know, one, it was really hard to try to find attorneys who would take it. We finally have 2 people now in 2008. So we're, you know, it's been a long standing. We thought the commission was going to do something other than what it did, so then that wound up being a disappointment. Finally in 2008, we've had 2 wonderful attorneys, which we'll come back probably another time and talk about pursuing litigation options. And that's only because that's how you're going to get the information.
Well, listen, I knew they were taking down Access TV on a smaller area and engaged in corruption, so I just sued them for one issue to get documents on another and caught them stealing, as I already knew they were doing, and sent the guy to Huntsville. But then it went up to the higher-level folks in the city, so they killed the investigation with only him going to prison, John Villarreal. But yes, you're right. If you know there's dirt and then you've got one claim, it's good to start a lawsuit to get in to something and burrow in. It's a way to get in there and get the facts.
Right.
Now, let's be specific. You were there. You went through this. Have you ever had threats or intimidation after, other than trying to go after your job or not, give you medical releases? All other key points before the show ends.
It was after that, and after the questions came, after I said there's no way I could possibly say my child wasn't there. After I said, well, okay, these are very valid questions.
Because they were asking you to lie. They were asking you to lie and say your child wasn't there.
They pretty much wanted me to say. They didn't say lie. They said it was inappropriate for me to discuss.
And so, but they wanted you to say, though, that your child wasn't there, though.
Right.
Yeah.
That I was there visiting. I took him there to visit with other people, and I said, you don't bring your child.
So they wanted you to say that you'd basically snuck your child in.
Pretty much. And I brought him there to visit with other people.
Okay, so
bringing my son to visit.
So day one, you're in the hospital bed, and they're telling you this is what you saw, this is what happened, and now they're trying to set dirt up on you, and so you start to really ask questions.
I wasn't going to say it, so that was it. I mean, the truth